Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to talk about the different ways in which you can create various market reports. So when you log into your dashboard, you're going to go right to create a report. This is going to pull up the map. Everything in AreaPulse is done based on, maps and where locations are. And so we're going to jump over to the Seattle area. So when you create a report, you have the option of doing it by a city, a neighborhood, or a school district or address. So I can go to Seattle, and it's going to give me a polygon of that city area. Same thing if I were to do, for instance, a school district. So I got to get the right thing in here. So I'm going to go down to the Bellevue School District, and I can see that it's going to give me that school district there. You could also do things like neighborhood, for instance, and a lot of that's going to depend on the data that we have on hand. What's in your area in terms of those neighborhoods and how those work. Would you do by property address, for instance, you're going to get a radius. I'm going to pull this up here so you can see how this looks here. You're going to have the radius option. So when I'm using an address, it's going to be based on the mileage around that property, versus when I do a city or zip, it's going to give me the actual polygon for that. So let's say, for instance, I do zip code here instead of address. It's going to give me that zip code. Now, I can always say, hey, you know what? None of those really work for me. I really want to just do a market report for a very specific area. To do that, you come in and use the drawing tool. And that's very simple. You just come in and draw the area that you want to have. And then before you go ahead and run the report, you're going to want to make sure you're doing things like, is it farm and ranch, multifamily. By default, the report will include everything. So unless you select something, it's going to include all these options in that report. So I'm going to go ahead and click that I want it to be residential. I may even set a one bedroom, for instance, just to make sure I'm not picking up any vacant land that may have been marked as residential. And you could also do bed, bath, or price if you choose to. So if you have someone who only wants higher end homes, I'm going to go in and set that price up high. And then once I've got my criteria in here that I want, I'm going to go ahead and create report. Now this takes a few minutes while it crunches all the numbers and gets all the information from your MLS to generate the report. Okay, once that report's been created, I can see my report here. I can see the listing prices. I'm going to go through and make sure all the data looks accurate, looks correct. My days on market, my listing inventory. Should see the location of my report. And of course I want to make sure I've got listings coming in here and that those look good. Once I verify that everything looks good, I can now share this report with a contact. I can post it to social media. I can generate a report URL, or I can save it and give it a name so I can use it for later to send out to other people. So those are just a few ways in which you can generate different types of reports. Again, those are by city, school district, address, zip code, or using the draw tool.